what are some of your tips for having, we'll call those as much you have a strong relationship with your technology vendors, because with the solutions vendors, whatever you want to call them, but they can certainly help your position. They can help your career. They can make it difficult. It's just a matter of how those work. So what are some tips to make sure those are fruitful for both sides? It truly needs to benefit both sides for that to work out.
It does. It does. And I think, again, because we're embracing managed services to such a degree now, we have much tighter alliances, right? For a long time, you'd sell me a box, you'd go away to do something, and if something went wrong with the box, I'd call your support line and hopefully they'd be able to help me. Right now, it's your people who are looking at the alerts that come from the devices that you manage on-prem, and they're communicating to me with a problem. Right? Back in 2007, when somebody would call me with a problem, it was probably the FBI, because they found something really bad in my environment and they called to say, you may want to look into this. They couldn't give you much more information than that because it was probably an ongoing investigation, but you'd get a courtesy call to say, you're a mess. You better, figure out what it is and go fix it. Now we've got these shared responsibilities, but I want to make it clear, and this is actually a very important nuance, right? Shared responsibility, single accountability, right? As much as we love each other, Bill, and it's great, it's a wonderful relationship, it's mutually productive, at the end of the day, if something goes down, it's my head that goes on the block, right? Not yours. Yeah, I mean, maybe you lose some business and that may not be great for you, but it's my head that rolls down, kind of the center aisle of the office if something bad happens. So we always have to keep that in mind, that I, as the buyer, am ultimately accountable for how this works. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, and I want to call it risk transference, because it's not really transferring the risk because it's still my head on the block. But what I want to do is have responsibility transference, right? I want to be able to bring a broader team into the mix. And that means I have to have a great ongoing relationship with my vendor, right? If my vendor sells me some stuff and then disappears, they are not the right vendor. Right? Even in a service provider, hey, they get love while they get stuff up and running for a quarter, and then I never hear from them. Wrong vendor. Right now, it's really, and you see this in terms of the operational motions, it's about building that tight relationship where I become not just sticky, right? Not like I'm sticky, right? But in a very kind of business critical aspect, right? Some service providers are business critical to these organizations. Let's say, let's just get, for example, use, kind of AWS or Microsoft as an example, right? My whole business is built on AWS. So I need to have a good relationship with my rep, and me and 2 million other companies, right, who've built their business on AWS, tens of millions on Microsoft, right? But I have to be able to have what I hope to be personal relationships with folks, so that when something does go down, they have as much, again, their head's not on the block, but they've got a shared interest in making sure that we resolve this situation as quickly as possible. And that only happens through work, right? That happens through spending a bunch of time together. That happens through overcoming adversity, right? And working together to deal with problems. It's building a relationship. And that's something that's become a lot harder over the last couple of years, because you can't have somebody show up and work together on something. Well, with the exception of this, right? We can sit on Zoom all day long, but there's just something about, kind of being in the same space as people where it really facilitates, kind of the building of that relationship. And to me, that's the thing, right? And I know this is difficult for a lot of, kind of self-proclaimed technology people. Oh, I went into technology because I didn't like people, right? If I like people, I'd go into sales and I'd make a lot more money. Maybe yes, maybe no, depending on what it is that you're selling. But the reality is now we're all in the relationship business. And when I have shared accountabilities with somebody or shared responsibilities with somebody, I have to have a very good relationship with them. If you don't know when their birthday is, that's not a great relationship.